Imagine your boss walking into your office tomorrow and saying, "Henry, we want to give you another $113 million. And you say, "No thanks." That's exactly what Jalen Brunson did. When Brunson signed his contract extension with the Knicks in the summer of 2024, he voluntarily turned down what was reportedly another $113 million by not waiting until free agency. At the time, people called him crazy. Why would anyone leave that kind of money on the table? Fast forward 2 years. The Knicks are NBA champions.
Seconds remaining. Fox to Wemby. Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby the rebound. It's over. It's over. Knicks fans, this is not a dream. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
Brunson is Finals MVP.
The winner of the Larry Bird Trophy, the 2026 Eastern Conference Finals Most Valuable Player by unanimous decision, Jalen Brunson.
He's become one of the most beloved athletes in New York sports history. And now, some of the biggest stars in basketball are starting to follow his blueprint. But here's the fascinating part. This story isn't really about money. It's about one of the biggest changes the NBA has seen in decades. Because thanks to the league's new salary cap rules, taking less money might actually become the smartest business decision a superstar can make.
On the drive, spins. Underneath, puts it up, puts it in. Jalen Brunson does it again. It's a 6-point lead with 37 seconds left.
Spurs needed 3.
To understand why Brunson's extension was so significant, we have to go back to 2022. The Knicks signed Brunson away from Dallas on a 4-year, $104 million contract. At the time, critics thought New York had overpaid. Brunson had never been an all-star. He'd never been the number one option. Dallas wasn't even willing to match.
Jalen Brunson isn't the answer!
It's an awful idea.
And for what? To go all in hopes of signing Jalen Brunson?
Then, everything changed. Within 2 seasons, Brunson became one of the best guards in basketball, an all-star, an all-NBA player, a legitimate MVP candidate. Suddenly, he held all the leverage. Had he simply waited until free agency, reports suggested he could have signed a 5-year contract worth roughly $269 million. Instead, he signed a 4-year extension worth $156.6 million.
Jalen Brunson, who was eligible to sign an extension as of today, has agreed to a 4-year, $156.5 million.
A difference of approximately $113 million. That's more money than most professional athletes make in their entire careers. So, why would he do it? The answer begins with something most NBA fans hate talking about: the salary cap, specifically the second apron. Now, I promise this won't be boring. Think of the NBA salary cap like speeding on the highway. Going over the salary cap, everyone does it. Going into the luxury tax, that's expensive but manageable. Crossing the second apron, that's like getting your license suspended. Under the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, teams above the second apron lose many of the tools that contenders rely on. You can't combine salaries and trades. You lose important free agent exceptions. You can't send cash in deals. Future first-round draft picks can even become frozen or pushed to the end of the first round. Basically, the NBA designed these rules to stop wealthy teams from endlessly stacking stars. Once you're above that second apron, building your roster becomes dramatically harder, which is exactly why Brunson's contract mattered so much. Here's the biggest misconception surrounding Brunson's extension. People say he sacrificed money so the Knicks could spend more. That's true, but it's incomplete. Brunson didn't just create extra cap space, he created flexibility. And flexibility has become one of the most valuable assets in modern basketball. Because the Knicks stayed below the second apron, they were able to re-sign OG Anunoby. They were able to trade for Mikal Bridges. They were able to acquire Karl Anthony Towns. And later, they were able to give Bridges a massive extension without locking themselves into salary cap hell. Without Brunson's discount, several of those moves become significantly more difficult. Some may never happen at all, but here's something that's equally important. Brunson didn't win the championship by taking less money. The Knicks front office still had to make all the right decisions. Leon Rose still had to identify the right players, negotiate the trades, build chemistry, hire the right coaching staff. Brunson opened the door. The organization still had to walk through it, and that's a distinction that often gets lost. If this story sounds familiar, it's because we've seen something similar before. Tom Brady. Throughout his career with the Patriots, Brady routinely signed contracts below what he could have earned on the open market. Depending on the estimate, he may have left somewhere between $60 million and $100 million on the table. People often point to that as the reason New England won 6 Super Bowls, but that's actually an oversimplification. The Patriots didn't dominate because Brady made less money. They dominated because they drafted well, developed players, found value in free agency, and consistently made smarter football decisions than almost everyone else. Brady's discounts helped, but they didn't magically create championships. The same applies to Brunson. Taking less money isn't some secret cheat code. It's simply giving your organization more opportunities to improve. Whether they actually capitalize on those opportunities is an entirely different question. Here's where this story becomes much bigger than the Knicks, because Brunson may not be alone anymore. Victor Wembanyama reportedly accepted a smaller rookie extension than he could have demanded, saving San Antonio millions of dollars each season. Money that can now be used to build around him. Then came LeBron James, one of the richest athletes in history, a player who absolutely could have demanded another massive contract. Instead, he reportedly chose winning over maximizing his salary. Suddenly, Brunson doesn't look like an exception. He looks like the beginning of a trend. And honestly, it makes sense. The new CBA has fundamentally changed team building. Stars are still incredibly valuable, but depth has become more valuable than ever. One superstar making $5 million less per year might allow a team to keep an elite role player, or complete one extra trade, or avoid the second apron entirely. Those margins can decide championships. But this raises a much bigger question. Is this actually good for the NBA? On one hand, fans love it. Nobody is going to criticize a superstar for sacrificing money to help his team win, especially when it results in championships. But there's another side to this. Should fans expect players to voluntarily give up tens of millions of dollars? Would any of us do that? These careers are short. One injury can change everything. Players have fought for decades to earn a larger share of league revenue. So should they now feel pressured to give that money back in the name of winning? It's not as simple as saying, well, if he cared about winning, he'd take less. Every player's situation is different. Every organization is different. And not every franchise deserves that kind of sacrifice. What's incredible about Jalen Brunson's decision isn't just that it worked, it's that it may have fundamentally changed how superstars think about contracts. For years, the goal was simple: sign the biggest deal possible. Now, there may be another option. Take slightly less. Give your front office more flexibility. Build a deeper team and increase your chances of winning championships. Of course, none of that matters if your front office makes bad decisions. Brunson's contract didn't magically create a title. Leon Rose still had to build the roster. The coaching staff still had to maximize it. The players still had to deliver when it mattered most. But without that contract, maybe none of it happens. Maybe OG Anunoby isn't back. Maybe Mikal Bridges never arrives. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns never becomes a Knick. Maybe New York is still waiting for its first championship in over 50 years. Instead, Jalen Brunson bet $113 million on one thing: winning. And in doing so, he may have changed the future of the NBA forever.